The dance is bringing the heat with a showcase of the best dance from Broadway and Hollywood. And today we're talking with Deanna Doyle from this production. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Brian. It's good to be here.
We are so excited. And you just recently had like the opening weekend just a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, correct?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've totally lost track of time. We're open. Let's say that.
Yeah.
We're open. I have no idea what day of the week it is ever.
You're like, the time is irrelevant now.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. As long as I know
um,
the choreography, I'm good.
what was it like, though, to finally open the show and kind of bring it to audiences?
Well, so we actually a big portion of us in the cast did this production at the York at a different off-Broadway theater back in last December. And so it's been really exciting to take it to another theater. This theater is bigger. I guess it's like twice as many seats, maybe more. I guess more. And the cast is slightly different. This cast is amazing. We get along really, really well. We have a lot of fun on and off stage.
That's
Um,
awesome.
so yeah, it's been a lot of work, and it's still a lot of work, but we all enjoy the work.
That's really cool, though. You're able to take it from one venue to another and now getting to kind of feel how that is. Like you said, it's slightly bigger, so that has to
Mhm.
change the show just a little bit, right?
Yeah, it changes sort of the atmosphere feels different, of course. But for the most part, I mean the pieces themselves are obviously, I mean that's the game of this show is maintaining the pieces authenticity. So from history. So that has remained the same.
Absolutely. So for those who maybe aren't familiar with the show,
Mm-hmm.
what is, like, in your own words, what is Gotta Dance?
Oh gosh. Okay, so Gotta Dance is it's a review show. So there's no
Hmm.
plot, there's no story.
Sure.
Um, it is several pieces put together, and these pieces are historical pieces from musical
Sure.
theater and from TV film. So or film, I should say, Hollywood. So there's a piece from Singing in the Rain. Many people are familiar with Gene Kelly.
Of
So there's
course.
there's a little Singing in the Rain bit, and we have uh, uh, all of us are triple threat. So we don't just dance, even though it's called Gotta Dance. We also gotta sing and gotta act. So
Gotta do it
yeah,
all.
we gotta do it all. We gotta do it all. So it's singing, dancing, acting, and it's really shining a light on these historical pieces. So a lot of the pieces many people have not seen because this was maybe before they were born, or maybe they missed it. So now's their chance.
I was gonna say I grew up on old, old classic musicals with my grandma, and so like Singing in the Rain was one of my favorites. West Side Story. So all of these really classic. The dancing is so iconic
Hmm.
that it's cool to be able to bring this to a show and show it to new generations, but also just people who grew like me that grew up on these films and
Yeah,
these shows.
yeah. I love to hear that you grew up on those films. I did too.
Okay.
And there are, believe it or not, there are a lot of people that did not grow up on these films,
Right.
so they've never seen, like, I just kind of getting off topic. But I was teaching a dance class many years ago, and these students were very, very talented. I was subbing a class, and they were tap dancers, they were ballet dancers, they could do it all. And I was teaching them a tap class. And at one point, they were doing a step, and they did it a certain way, and I was like, "No, think more like Fred and Ginger." And they looked at me like I was an alien. And I
They're like,
realized,
who?
yes, they had never heard of Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. And
Oh
I
no.
oh, I went home and I cried. I legitimately cried,
Sure.
because it just hurt my soul so much. Um, so to say that I feel passionately about this show, Gotta Dance, is an understatement for that
I
reason.
think
I
Oh no, I was gonna say I
Go ahead.
think that that makes total sense just because, like, for somebody who as a performer and stuff like that, these are people who Like Fred Astaire, that is somebody who you talk about. Like I remember talking about. I'm not an actor. I'm not a dancer at all. But like that was somebody who you knew his name and you knew his style. So like to
Yeah.
have people that you're like, who are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
um. So you mentioned quite a few different pieces that you're kind of pulling from.
Mhm.
What is kind of your favorite piece that you're getting to do in Gotta Dance?
Okay, I have 2. Can I give you
Perfect.
2?
Yes, please.
Okay, because it's a tie. Okay, so my 2 favorite pieces that I personally do in the show, um, one of them is from Gypsy. Are you familiar with Gypsy? Okay.
Yes.
So, there's a scene in Gypsy where Tulsa sings to Louise, and he's singing "All I Need Is the Girl." And like you, I grew up on these, movie musicals, and since I was young, I've always had this, like, strong desire for someone to sing "All I Need Is the Girl" to me. And so I actually get to play Louise in the show, and
Oh,
I'm
that's
sitting
so
there on
awesome.
stage and someone's singing "All I Need Is a Girl," and it's just like my lifetime dream. So, that's one of my favorite things. And then the other one, I do a piece from White Christmas.
Okay.
It's choreographed by Randy Skinner, who is a big favorite of mine. And the piece is "I Love a Piano." It's a song and dance tap number,
Okay.
and we have so much fun doing it. I know that that sounds cliche, but the other day we came back from being off stage or being on stage during the number. We came off into the dressing room, and I said to the other girls that are in the number with me, I said, "Is it just me, or is that number like so much fun?" And they're like, "Yes, we have so much fun in that number." Because we're all just we're interacting with each other, and it's really genuine. Like the love that we have for the piece is really really genuine.
I love the energy that you have, like the passion that you have for these numbers, but also this whole program
Yeah,
because you can just tell how much you love that dance, and that translates to the stage, obviously, and then people get to enjoy that as well.
yeah, yeah.
What has proven to be the most challenging number, though?
Mm. Oh, that's an interesting question. The most challenging number. Well, okay. A couple numbers come to mind. I'm gonna choose. All right, I'm gonna choose our finale. It's
Okay.
one from a chorus line. For me, it is the most challenging because everything is very specific, like
Okay.
where you put literally your pinky finger. And I consider myself a detail oriented person. However, when I dance, I don't tend to really focus on that
Sure.
specific of details. So a number like that, it's an ensemble number, so we all have to look exactly alike. It's very like it's almost like being a rocket.
Sure.
So that's really it's hard, and I think it's hard for most of us in this show because it's a cast full of principal dancers who are kind of used to using their artistry rather than being like so precise and
Sure.
um, controlled.
Which I can imagine would be very difficult if you're used to like feeling the music instead of having to like enact a specific
Yes.
move
Yeah.
at the same with everybody.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Like just like the tilt of your head has to be just so.
I actually read Kelly Bishop's biography, and
hmm
she talks about how that
Oh.
was one of the hardest shows she's ever done of her life because it is so specific in what they
Oh,
wanted.
I'm
And
gonna have to read this. Oh, that's it makes me feel better to hear because I feel a little guilty saying this.
sure,
But oh, that makes me feel much better if she
absolutely,
felt the same
it's a
way.
great read.
Yeah, okay, okay, I'll check it out.
So you also have had quite the journey into dancing and acting and
Mhm.
performing. Where did your passion for the arts begin?
Um, so my family is I come from a dancing family. My
Sure.
So from birth, or I should say from before birth, my great great aunt had a sister act in vaudeville. They
That's
were
so
called
cool.
the Wilson sisters, and yeah, we have all these like newspaper articles about them, and we have a big trunk full of their costumes. Um,
That's
so
so cool.
my family has a legacy of being professional performers, mainly dancers. So they had an act, and then my great aunt was a professional dancer. My mom was a professional dancer, and then there's me.
So a long line of just like incredibly talented women from, from generation to generation.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of my dancing peers, they grew up being the only dancer in their family, and so they've spent a big portion of their life um, teaching their family what it is to be a dancer. And I've obviously never had to do that. My family has always understood the,
Sure.
the conflicts about it and the struggles. And um, so in many ways, I've had it a bit easier coming up, being brought up in a family that already knows what this whole industry is like.
Sure, absolutely. Was there a specific moment for you where you felt like you had made it? Like this was the moment you were kind of waiting for as you were going through your own journey?
Oh God, what a good question. No, isn't that interesting? I think um part of the reason I say no is because in many ways I feel like I still haven't reached
Okay.
wherever I want. I guess it feels like I'm always trying to not get to the next place, but I'm always trying to grow. I'm always trying to
Sure.
build on what I've already done. Um, not to sound like I am never satisfied or grateful. I am. Oh my gosh, I feel like I've had so many careers rolled up into one life. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think that there's still so much more that I want to do.
Sure.
And at the same time, yeah, looking back at what I have done, I'm really grateful for the opportunities that I've already had.
Yeah, you've done so many incredible things. When I was looking at your resume and like checking, like looking things out, I was like, wow, you have accomplished so much. And so to be able to still say like, there's still room that there's still more story here left to tell.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I have so many things that I want to do in life, I guess. So an interesting fact, I feel like I heard that you're a psychologist. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
So I have a degree in psychology as well.
No way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just wanted to mention that because I thought, oh, this is a fun thing to talk about. So yeah, in a separate life, my other half, my more academic side, I was going to pursue. I guess I really wanted to work in a school setting,
Okay.
and so yeah, I got a degree in psychology, and I was really starting to apply to graduate schools, and then I was like, uh, wait, I'm a dancer. I gotta
But then,
dance.
but the
Oh,
nice
I
thing is that
didn't even mean to say that. I just said I gotta dance.
that was perfect. The she totally meant it, everybody.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, I'm sure that there's ways that you can apply the
Yes,
psychology to like both like the world that you're living in and also just dancing as well, you know?
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like I still have that brain that naturally analyzes, myself and my reactions and maybe other people's reactions. Um, yeah, yeah,
I will say that as getting into this later in life, the writing and the critiquing, and it's always interesting because as a psychologist, I'm picking up on things. I'm like, the way like that the dancer's slightly changing their foot like could totally mean something different to everybody else, but to me maybe it's like, oh, this is representing like sadness, and like so being
yeah.
able to have that kind of like that lens a little bit has definitely led to an interesting perspective as you're critiquing shows.
Oh, totally. I mean, I'm sure you're so much more in tune to the storytelling, right?
Yeah.
Because of your background. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But that's really cool. That's cool that you have that background and that you can bring that. And also, as a dance instructor, because you're also a dancing instructor, that also would
Mhm.
be very beneficial as well too, because you have to learn how to read people and
Yes.
understand where people are coming from.
Yes, yes, I love to teach, so when I'm not performing, I am teaching pretty much full time, and yeah, one of my, main goals when I teach is I want to address everyone as the individual that they are. So, everyone learns differently, and in my opinion, they learn differently because of their personality and their needs. So like some I was just talking about this the other day with someone. Some people are really good under pressure. I am not.
Sure.
So that's just an example. You know, like you can I can tell when someone is like me and they need a much calmer, warmer environment to thrive.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, I think my psychology degree really comes in handy dealing with people and teaching. Yeah.
So what is it like then for you to pass on your knowledge and skills to the younger dancers?
Mm. You know, I love teaching. I grew up I started teaching when I was, like, 14 years old,
My
which is
gosh.
insane, and I started teaching adults, I guess this was once I moved to the city, so this was more recently, and my biggest passion in teaching has become teaching adults who have never danced before how to dance.
Okay. I
That
love that.
is oh my god. I feel like sometimes I feel like I've been placed on earth just to do that. Like,
Okay.
it just speaks so much to my heart because, um, I know that as an adult, I don't like trying new things.
Mhm.
It's really hard
Same.
for me, right? It's really hard, especially in front of other people.
Sure.
And, when you are, when you sign up to take a ballet class as an adult and you've never taken a ballet class, how terrifying must that feel? Um, and so, yeah, my favorite thing about teaching is teaching adults specifically who have like lived a life. They come from all different backgrounds, and they've they're just showing up with all this courage,
I
and I'm
love
in awe.
that.
Yeah.
And like also what a way too, because I'm not saying that's easier to learn as a child, but like
Mhm.
when you're kind of growing up in it, you're more in tune with your body. But to grow and be an adult and not like be in tune with your body in that way and having to learn that as well and learn your
Mhm.
push past the limitations that you've grown accustomed to, that's as a teacher, I can imagine that's also rewarding to watch as well.
It's so rewarding. It's funny because, yeah, adults, it's like they have to unlearn more, obviously than children. Children have not learned too much about their bodies yet, but
Right.
adults have to, like, unlearn. But the thing that they always bring to the studio that children just, have not had the opportunity to bring is artistry. And so that already puts them a level above the children.
Sure. Oh, that's awesome. You had mentioned about continuing to grow and continuing to learn yourself. How do you
Mhm.
feel like Gotta Dance has helped you grow as a performer?
Mm. Gotta Dance is a really interesting show because these types of shows don't come along very often, meaning
Okay.
a dance show, a show that is really dance.
Sure.
Um, so it it feels good on my body to work this hard, and um, I guess what I'm consistently learning in my career is that my body is pretty cool. That's
That's a
so
great
weird.
answer. I mean,
Like it's pretty crazy that our bodies can do this and can do this 8 times a week and can do all of these pieces in a row. It's just
it's
I
wild, isn't it?
it's wild. It's really wild. Um yeah, so I guess that would be my answer that I'm learning that I can I say this because as dancers we're told early on that our careers are only so long,
Right.
right? And we have this fear growing up that, oh gosh, I got to pack it all in before I turn 25. And that's just not true. It's not true. It's our bodies are sustainable. We have to take care of our bodies. That
Right.
that's important. But yeah, I guess, and whenever I'm asked if I do like a Q&A or something like that with other dancers, particularly young dancers, the thing that
Sure.
I always tell them is don't feel like you got to pack it in all at once. It's not going to happen all at once. It's your career is longer than you think it is, and to just have patience. So, but as I'm saying this in a Q&A, I'm also thinking, oh God, I got to pack it in, like
Sure.
I'm about
Right.
to,
But we're running
about
out
to,
of time. Like,
right, I'm running out of time. So, yeah, so this show in particular has shown me we can still do it.
a while back, I knew somebody who was in tap, and they gave it
Hmm.
up, in their 30s, or
Hmm.
like, or I should say, like, late 20s, early 30s, because they're just like, and my body just can't do it anymore. And then they
Mm.
discovered a few years later that they still could do it, and that they still
Yeah,
wanted to do it,
yeah,
because, but like they had a bit learned that, like, okay, almost like burn yourself out very early on
yeah,
and fit it all in, so that by like 25, 26, 27, you're packing it up and you're retired.
yeah.
Um, and so it kind of goes along with what you're saying there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. If you take care of your body, it's amazing how much it will give you. And that's something that I learned during COVID when I was kind of like twiddling my thumbs, like we all were.
Sure.
And I was not one of the ones baking bread because I already baked bread, like did that, done that. Um, so what I focused on during COVID was like taking care of my body, and that's really when I learned, wow, I feel so much better when I do that.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
one final question for you
Yeah.
before I let you go is just, what are you hoping audiences take away from this production of Gotta Dance?
Um, okay. This is kind of circling back to a previous question when you asked me about my favorite piece. And I,
Yeah,
I gave you two. And I told you about I Love the Piano and how much I love it. So I hope that they feel the joy that that I feel when we're on stage. I hope that they feel it themselves. I hope that they walk
sure.
away with a little extra pep in their step. Um, because that's I mean, that's what dance is, right? It's like
Right.
it's a pep in your step.
That's
Yeah.
a beautiful answer. Thank you so much for your time, Deanna. It's been such a pleasure talking with you, and we are so excited for the show.
Thank you so much, Brian.
So Gotta Dance is currently running at Stage 42 in NYC, so get your tickets now, and we'll see you at the show.